All right, we want to talk about this. This is something that we've been talking about for a while now. On a more serious note, Meta settled for $18 billion in their federal child safety trial. But what does that actually mean for children and their safety on the internet? So we have Nuala O'Connor, a tech safety and privacy expert, joining us now live to talk about it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the settlement, it does sound like it's a big deal, but which of these changes actually make the biggest difference for kids?
I think it's important to note that the biggest difference actually is that these are changes that affect kids 13 to 17. There were no rules in particular about users from 13 to 17, and they limit the time length that someone of that age can be on the platform. So 2 hours right now, it might even be lower if more companies sign on to the agreement. And it silences things overnight from 12 to 6 in the morning and during the school day, during the school year. So it really has a meaningful difference on how much interaction people under 18 will have with the platform.
And how do we know that these new safeguards are actually going to change behavior here rather than just kind of like giving parents a whole nother menu of things that they have to manage?
Well, the good news is these will be built into the platform automatically, and you'll have to change them if you don't want them for your kid. The bigger issue is, how is the platform going to know that this is a child account? A lot of kids get on and give a false birth date, and so the company has committed to doing more to validate the actual identity of their users. I think it'll also have a real change for people who are just joining, kids who are just joining the platform in the future.
Yeah, because these kids see that and they're like, oh, I can just put in a different birthday, exactly like you said. Now, some of the changes that you mentioned, they do target features designed to keep kids scrolling. So how does this settlement essentially acknowledge that the way these platforms were built was part of the problem?
The real issue in the case was, are these addictive designs? Is this a product liability issue, essentially? And people are calling it the big tobacco moment for tech, and they're right, because some of the similar strategies from the attorneys general were used in these cases, including in the Illinois attorney general. The big change is that the algorithm does not change, but the length of time that a user can be online, and they'll get 15-minute warnings every reminder to say you've been on this length of time. The company's also committed to making changes to regulate information about that would promote bullying or eating disorders or self-harm or suicide, a real issue, what our kids are seeing on the platforms.
Yeah, that's so important because they're seeing this stuff all of the time. They have it just at their fingertips. But when talking about responsibility here and pointing fingers, maybe everybody kind of has something different to say. So what do you think? How much responsibility here should fall on parents, and how much responsibility do you think should fall on the companies who are designing these products?
I'm a parent myself, 3 kids and 3 stepkids. We have been through every iteration of social media and the internet, and we do take responsibility in our own house to set limits and to take phones away overnight, no phones at the dinner table. We're setting a lot of rules and doing a lot of work ourselves, as parents should be. They're the ultimate decider about what their kids should be engaging with online, both content and timing. But the reality is, the very design of the platforms is thought to be addictive. And that's a product design issue that really companies who know that they're doing that should be held responsible for. So at least it's a partnership at the very least. And at most, companies who are intentionally doing things to harm our children need to be held to account.
That was well said. I like the way you put that. Now, kids don't live on just Instagram and Facebook. There are so many platforms out there. So do you think that these stronger rules with Meta simply just kind of like push these kids to other apps?
There are 2 parts to that. First of all, a number of the attorney generals have already announced actions against TikTok and a number of other platforms. They're already reaching out to say, if you join these terms, this is what's going to apply to the whole industry. And also, what we really need are clear laws so that every new platform that is created is clear about what the rules are for this industry.
Now, this is a settlement. This is not federal law or anything like that. So what more do you think needs to happen here?
So Congress is already considering the Kids Online Safety Act. They've been considering privacy law for decades, frankly, but this would be targeted towards child use of the internet. Short of a federal law, this is going to be a case-by-case negotiation and conversation with these companies. What we really do need is a comprehensive, stable law that everyone knows how to apply.
And my last question for you, would love some advice here, for parents listening. What should parents do differently tonight? Like, if you can give them just one thing to do or one thing to check on their kid's phone, what would that be?
I always say go to the apps, go to the phone first and look at the apps they've got on their phone and look at the privacy settings. Are they open to being chatted with by strangers? Set those chat functions to private, and just most importantly, have a conversation with your kids about what they're seeing on a daily basis and check in with them to know how they're feeling about their online experience.
Yeah, that conversation is so important, and that's why we are going to continue the conversation here on The Loop. That is for sure. Nuala O'Connor, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
You bet. You bet. All right, you're watching The Loop.